I remember looking back at my pictures recently and I said, gosh, I was pretty. There was nothing wrong with me. And I am, and I've always been very smart. And I wasn't that fat, honestly. I wasn't like really like an elephant the way I thought I was. It's strange what we believe we see, right? We believe we are that way, and so we see it that way. Hi, everyone. I'm back with episode 4. And if you remember in the last episode, I talked about my problem with my program or my problem with self worth, meaning I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and my people pleasing. If that wasn't enough, there was another wound that I want to tell you about. And this one was really, really tough because it haunted me for a long time. Isn't it strange how the wounds fester and the same thing keeps happening over and over and over again until we pay attention to it and face it and heal it. And at such a young age, I was given these wounds. Perhaps they were from my past life. I don't know because I had to keep working on them, but they were tough. I don't know what happened, but after the twins were born, and as you know, all the attention was taken away as much as my parents wanted to give me the attention. It was not possible. So I started putting on weight. Now, I don't know if it was a subconscious way of getting more attention. Who knows? Perhaps I was really young, so I can't really remember what happened. And I did ask my mother this time, and I said, when exactly did I start putting on the weight? And she said, yeah, it was after your sisters were born. So here I am in India, and in India, it's really tough. They're very judgmental about a lot of things, especially about weight. So, of course, I was bullied, I was ridiculed, or, people call me fatty. They laughed behind my back. And when I was writing this out, I still could feel that energy of pain in my heart when I think back. It was pretty tough. So, actually, let me give you an example of what happened. I used to go to school and at that age, and there was this a little boy who would bully me all the time. Every time I walked through the schoolyard, he would call me fatty and laugh at me. And I felt, like shrinking inside. I felt so sad. And, how would one feel being laughed at, right? And so one of my friends told me, you always let him get away with it. Why don't you stand up to him and tell him to stop it? So I said, you know what? I need to do that. So the next day I saw him again and I gathered my courage, and he again, you fat, called me fatty. And I just stood up to him. I told him, hey, I'm not eating your father's food. Leave me alone. and, and I mean, and then I kept walking, and I thought that was the end of that, and he's not going to bother me. Well, when the school ended and I was leaving, he was waiting there for me. He had this rock in his hand, and he threw it at me. It hit my eye, above my eye, very close to hurting my eye. I would have gotten really injured badly. Thank God. I still have a little scar over here from that. It was bleeding profusely, and I was taken back. Of course, they took me to the hospital right away, and I don't remember if there were stitches. There must have been. When I was 9 years old, my father was in Hong Kong, and he finally got his business together, saved up enough money, and he got all his whole family to leave India and come and live in Hong Kong. Again, following the ancestors' footsteps, moving from place to place. And here we were in India, and we moved now to Hong Kong, to a completely different place, different languages, different foods, different everything. But it looks like we were used to it. And so, we were trying to adapt. I lived in Hong Kong for about almost 10 years. But here I was pretty chubby. And when I used to go shopping with my mom, I remember trying on clothes, and the salespeople, Chinese people, are very slim and thin, right? They would laugh. They would laugh at me and say certain, whisper things with each other. And of course, my mom would stand up for me and say, hey, leave her alone, or say something to them. But it was really hard for me to go through that. And every time something like that happened, I would shrink further inside and further inside. And the thing is, I believed those lies. The thoughts that came to me were, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm just fat. And so with that, I shied away. I was very shy. And that's why I hid. That's why it's hard for me to come forward, because that's when it all started. I just wanted to hide. I didn't want anyone to see me because I was so ashamed of myself. It's whew. But then I remember looking back at my pictures recently, and I said, gosh, I was pretty. There was nothing wrong with me. And I am, and I have always been very smart. And I wasn't that fat, honestly. I wasn't like really like an elephant the way I thought I was. It's strange what we believe we see, right? We believe we are that way, and so we see it that way. And so now I want to read to you what I have written. Looking back at pictures now, I see something completely different. I see a beautiful young girl, a smart, capable, vibrant young girl. And I wonder, how did I not see that then? But that's what a wound does. It blinds you. It twists your reflection. It convinces you of things that were never true. I know I am not alone in this. I know so many of you have been bullied, teased, or made to feel less than because of how you looked or how you didn't fit in. The pain of that runs deep. And here's what I want to say. Those were lies. Those were never the truth of who you were. And they are not the truth of who you are now. So I ask you, how many of you have carried the wound like that? How many of you still believe the lies were told as a child? This wound haunted me for a long time. It reinforced that same voice of not enough that started when I was little. But as I share it with you now, I feel a release, because naming it, speaking it out loud is part of the healing. Absolutely. I feel so good talking about this. And maybe by hearing this, you'll begin to release something too. I hope so. I hope everything that I'm doing coming out here, it's definitely healing me. I hope it's healing you too. And I would love to hear from you. Tell me what's going on in your life and how you have maneuvered in your life and how you have helped yourself or what you're going through. Thank you for listening. Until next time. Quest for Peace, a podcast about navigating outer chaos with inner harmony. Whether you're seeking solace in the midst of life's challenges or simply curious about the profound connection between inner and outer peace, the Quest for Peace podcast is your guide on this transformative expedition.